Prepare for nerdgasm. Hey, what's up, Nerdgasm fans? Jerry here, aka Barnacles. It's been a couple days since I've gotten a new technology video up for you guys. I've actually been sick, still am, got a really sore throat, but this can wait no longer. Time to bust out the Zim Edge. Now, I was a little surprised when I got the box, because I was like, this seriously looks like somebody just took, like, you know, some little box sitting around their house and slapped a sticker on it. And when I open it up, a little anti-static bag, like I ordered memory for my laptop. So I thought that was a little strange, but you know, don't let the packaging fool you. When you take out the little device, and it is tiny, I mean, look at it compared to my hand. It says Zim on top of it. It's got 4 little LEDs in the top that give you status indication. It's got one Type 2 USB to connect to your computer or to the Xbox, and then it's got 3 USB ports. Now, there's a couple interesting things, you know, when I first looked at it, I was like, well, the USB ports aren't marked. But in the documentation they send you, well, they don't send it to you, you have to actually go look at it on their webpage, or the little insert that they give you, right here, which actually isn't bad. I mean, it's actually, the insert's pretty good. But go look at the PDF online, it's a lot better. There is a particular order you want to plug things into this. Like, for instance, the controller needs to be on the outside port. I had problems with detection when it was on the other ones. It did work once, but they do recommend that you put them in a very specific order, and we'll go over that order here in a little bit. But I thought it was strange that they didn't actually mark them. I also haven't tried it with a USB hub yet. Well, that's not true. I tried it with my USB hub that had every peripheral I had. Basically, I transferred the USB hub that had my keyboard, my Belkin N52 TE, my 3D Space Navigator, all that. I plugged it into it, and it got confused as hell. So I can tell you right now, it's designed to have a keyboard and mouse plugged into it, or a joystick and a keyboard, or, you know, 2 devices. You don't want to plug in a hub that has a million things, because it definitely does get confused. The build quality on it's actually really, really good. It's a very, very you know, strong device. You squeeze it, it doesn't feel that cheap at all. And it's got a little sticker on the bottom that says Zim Edge, and it's got a little serial number and everything. So it actually looks quite professionally done. It's just the packaging, you know, obviously looks like somebody did it in their garage. And all it comes with is a USB cable. So it's a USB cable, the device, and this little insert. And for those of you that have absolutely no idea what this device does, it allows you to use a keyboard and mouse on your Xbox. And it does that using a wireless controller. This is another thing I should probably mention, if I could find it. Or sorry, a wired controller, not a wireless controller. Anyway, somewhere around here. Now, to use the Zim device, you have to have a wired controller. You can't use a wireless controller with the charging cable plugged into it. It has to be a truly wired controller. So there is a little bit of investment if you don't already have one. So don't get confused and think you can just buy the Zim, plug it in, and use it. There's a reason why it has 3 USB ports on the back of it. One of them is for your wired controller. And basically what it's doing is it's lying to the Xbox, because the Xbox only accepts logoed peripherals. It's basically lying to the Xbox saying, oh hey, I'm a wired controller connected, and then it's intercepting and sending its own I/O, basically using the controller as a dummy to fool the Xbox. This kind of seemed a little bit, you know, janky to me. Like, why, if this is supposedly a supported device by the Xbox and everything's kosher with it, why isn't it logoed and just automatically register itself as a peripheral? Well, the answer is I don't think it's completely legit. So I don't think they're breaking any laws by creating it, but I'm sure Microsoft probably doesn't care for it too much. But on the other hand, it allows gamers that, you know, are good with a keyboard and mouse to actually engage the game with a level of competency. Me being one of those people that I just suck on a controller. I mean, you guys have seen me play Xbox. Not to say I'm good on the PC, but I definitely suck infinitely more on the Xbox. So let's go ahead and get this thing plugged in and give it a try. Okay guys, for this demo with the Zim, I'm actually not going to use my DAS keyboard or these peripherals, because I have them permanently installed. They're all wire tied under the desk and everything like that. But I am going to test at a later date to see if it's compatible with a USB switch, if I only have a keyboard and mouse attached to it. If that's the case, then I'll take my main keyboard and mouse, route it through a switch, then I can just hit a button under my desk and have it connected. But for now, let's just test it standalone. So first thing we need is a keyboard. And I found out you do want to have everything plugged into the Zim before you turn the Xbox on, otherwise it can get confused. So we're going to start off using this old beast here. This is my Microsoft Sidewinder keyboard. Notice I don't have the 10 key attached. Figured that'd be nice because it's small. We'll go ahead and plug that in. So that's one device. And keeping with the Microsoft theme, I will use my old Microsoft Sidewinder X8 mouse. You guys can see this is actually one of the first product reviews I did on my channel. It's been sitting in my closet. Let's go ahead and plug that guy in. This will prove that it works with a wireless mouse. Okay. So you can see this becomes a little bit of a cable rat's nest. So unless you want to install it a little bit more permanently and take your time, this isn't like a controller where you just whip it out of the box and plug it in. It definitely presents a little bit of a cable nightmare. So let's go ahead and plug that in. Got the little charging brace on my mouse because it's screwed up. It'll be flashing, just so you guys know it's flashing because the internal battery's shot. And now we need the wired controller. So let me go ahead and grab that while we're building this cable nightmare. There we go. Here's my wireless official Microsoft Xbox controller. So we can fool the Xbox into thinking we're legit. So let's go ahead and plug that in on the outside port. Just like so. And then the USB cable, plug into the backside. And then that plugs into the front of the Xbox. So it does take a little bit of prep to get you up and going. But if it works, it's well worth it. So you can see we're plugged in. So the Zim is powering up. Now all these LEDs have different meanings if you look in the manual. Like here it shows you all the different play modes, the colors, the pulses. You definitely want to hang on to this sheet. And the way that it actually works before we get started with the game, we're going to play Modern Warfare 3 for this demonstration. And later on I'll use it in some other games, I'm sure, if it works well. You want to print this out. So there's software on the computer that you install to program the Zim. Now it comes defaulted with this setup, so I haven't changed the defaults, and we'll play with the computer program here in a few minutes. You want to print the sheet out because it has colors that tell you which game is bound to which key on the keyboard. So like for instance, if you look at the Zim device here, we're going to go ahead and power on the Xbox, switch the HDMI switch over so the center screen's Xbox here. You probably won't be able to see the screen, but that's okay for this point in the demo. You can see it's initializing. If you watch the controller, see the controller's connecting through the Zim device. So now it's pulsing red. That means we're good to go. Everything's all set up and working. And if you look at the sheet has F1 through F10 are mapped to different games. Call of Duty Black Ops, Modern Warfare 3, Battlefield 3. These are all the different key mappings, mouse sensitivity configuration, all the stuff that you like, your personal preferences for each of these games. So all you do is you push an F key on the keyboard and you see the LEDs change. The LED color corresponds to the game that you have configured. So for instance, if we're playing Modern Warfare 3, we hit F3 and we should see blue. And there we go. So that means that now the Zim is configured so that my mouse movements and my keyboard inputs are all mapped for the defaults for Modern Warfare 3. So before we play the game, let's go ahead and look at the PC software and give you guys a little bit of a better idea of how that all works. Alright guys, so the first thing you do is you want to plug the Zim into your computer. So here's the unit, but you want to make sure you do not have anything connected to it. No keyboards, no mice, no Xbox controller. This puts it into PC Connect mode. So you go ahead and connect it. If you don't do this, you're going to struggle like I did trying to figure out why the hell the software won't connect to it. So now, while the Zim is booting up, you go to the website, download the Zim Edge Manager. It's just a single executable you download. You don't even have to install it. And then once it's connected to the computer, you just open this up, the Zim Manager, and you say, okay, go ahead and connect to the Zim Edge. If it says reading, you're good to go, and then it opens it up. So here's my current Zim configuration. You can see in here it's basically the default. So since we're going to play Modern Warfare 3 for this demonstration, let's go ahead and edit it. So if you open this up, you can see right here, they have hip aiming sensitivity, you have aim down sight sensitivity. This thing is incredibly smart. They use these things called smart translators. And I did play with the device for a little while, and I was actually really shocked at how good it is. It basically detects when you're zoomed in and when you're zoomed out based on your control inputs, and modifies the sensitivity. So you can basically tell it that when you're scoped in to be way less sensitive so that you can move, more gradually, and when you're hip aiming, move radically faster. So this is actually pretty cool. So I'm going to crank these numbers up because I noticed when I played the sensitivity was a little slow. So we're going to go ahead and turn this up to 70, and then for aiming down the scope, we're going to go up to 50. And there's also a delay in here of 120 milliseconds, which means if you scope in, wait 120 milliseconds before changing the sensitivity, basically to give you time for that scope to completely zoom in. Now, for your keyboard movements, you can come down here and you can actually map them to a keyboard or a joystick. By default, it's to the keyboard's WASD keys, which are default, as you can see on my keyboard, are green. Because that's pretty common for all first-person shooters. And then everything else on the controller you can map. Now, again, it's probably smart to print this out right here, copy it and print it, because the game, you're used to the game telling you push the X button, push the start button, push the back button. You have to figure out what that maps to on the keyboard. And literally, you can map anything to anything. You can map the joystick, you can map a steering wheel, you can map, I mean, I haven't tried it all, but it looks like you can map absolutely everything. You can also create custom profiles for games, but I recommend that you download the profiles that they have because they've done a lot of work to make the sensitivity right and to combat some of the movement, like for instance some of the automatic aim and some of the floaty, you know, reticle and stuff with the controller. They found a way to counter that in a lot of these games, so you want to make sure that you're using the right profile. So you can also click on more settings and you can see that you can actually turn on maximum speed, turn speed warning, which will let you know when you've exceeded the maximum turning that the guy can do in game. Because it does a one-to-one mouse mapping. If you whip the mouse as fast as you can, obviously it's going to overload it and it's not going to be able to move as far as you wanted it to. You can also change like the vertical and horizontal mouse movement. There's lots of stuff that you can do, and then there's a mouse ballistics editor that you can do in here that I haven't even got into, but this is for combating some other problems with like the controller. I haven't even gotten into it, but it's very, very configurable. So now that we see that that's all configured, we're gonna go, okay, it says I have unsaved changes, I want to save those. So now I want to save and disconnect. It's writing to the device, so right now it's updating the firmware with my new requests. This just takes a few moments. And there we go. Successfully updated and we're ready to go. So let's go ahead and plug that back into the Xbox and get started. Okay, as you can see, I have everything plugged back into the Xbox now. I have the Zim right there, my controller connected to it, got my keyboard and my mouse all tied in. So now we're going to go ahead and power on the Xbox. Modern Warfare 3 is in there. You can see the Zim. It's booting up. The controller is recognizing. The keyboard's lighting up. And we're connected. Well, just about. Let's see, Zim's still booting. And I've already encountered a problem. I booted the Xbox and the Zim did not connect to the controller. This has happened to me once before. Hopefully they fix this with a firmware update. So I'll plug it in again. Zim is booting. There goes the controller. And this time we're connected. So now player one's connected. And you can see my WASD keys, they work. I can now navigate. Now the first thing you want to do is select the game that you're going to play. In this case it's going to be Modern Warfare 3, which is F3, so you just push F3 on the keyboard. Notice the LED turns blue. That means we're ready to go with that profile loaded. Alright, one other quick thing I'll note, guys, is the controller that's connected still works. So you can actually use the controller through the Zim, or you can use the keyboard. You can see I'm navigating. Space bar is the same as the A button, so we just go ahead and hit space. And now we're loading Modern Warfare 3. One other thing to note is the Zim device right here. If you push back and start at the same time, it puts the Zim into configuration mode. You can see it's blinking right here. And if you look through the directions, you can do stuff like increase. You can flip through the options with the D-pad here, and you can push up and down to increase sensitivity while in game.
For years, the West's hypocrisy has...
So that way, if you want to tweak things without having to go out to the PC, and you totally can. All right, let's give this a try. I'm just using the keyboard and mouse right now. We're going to go ahead and try campaign mode first. Go ahead and resume my game. Turn that volume down a bit. So right now we have the Modern Warfare 3 profile loaded. the device isn't that difficult to use. I think it's clever how they dealt with some of the problems like loading profiles and things like that. Now there is another Zim device, the Zim V3, that has a screen on it, so you can do configuration with like a little touch screen on it. But that device was sold out. That's why I got the Edge. But it looks like they both have the same capabilities. All right. Okay, so the first thing I noticed is the first time my mouse isn't working. Make sure I plugged it in. All right, and I still have no mouse. Try swapping those around. Okay, so there you have it, guys. Notice I wasn't paying attention when I plugged them in. I had the mouse plugged in on an outside. The mouse needs to be the center one. Because I didn't have it plugged in the center one, it wasn't working. So there we go, finally up and running. The first thing that I noticed using it is, they're absolutely right. It is a one-to-one mapping. There is zero lag. Like here's my mouse right here, so you guys can see. Let me try setting it up here. You can see I'm moving it. There is no lag between the mouse, you know, other than maybe the, you know, the default wireless couple of milliseconds, but the speed of movement, absolutely there. Feels just like a mouse on a computer. This was something that shocked the hell out of me because I don't see how you can translate the movement of an analog stick into mouse movement so perfectly, but they managed to pull it off. So you hold down the button, you can see I'm zoomed in. When I'm zoomed in, the sensitivity is much less. That's the Zim doing its job. You can even see the Zim even shows you telemetry, like when I zoom in, see it blinks green. The Zim constantly gives you status of like what's going on, what mode you're in, you know, what's happening. It's kind of cool. All right, well, let's give it a shot. Here we are on the first campaign, Modern Warfare 3. Let's do a little zooming in. I don't see any guys down there. Let's go find some targets. Here we go. Okay, got one guy. Got another guy. Woo. Okay. You can see I can lay down using the C key. The mouse movement is very, very fluid. Throw a grenade. Grenade is with Q. Much easier to play this way. Throw a grenade. Whoa. Take this guy out. Much easier to aim with the mouse than with the controller, definitely. I might actually get a lot of headshots now. Definitely cool. The mouse feels just like you're playing on the computer. I thought it would take some getting used to, but no, they're right about the one-to-one mapping. It definitely feels, you know, it feels like I can run, I can jump, I can turn. You know, I never used to be able to do moves like this, you know, where I just run, you know, jump, spin around, and I'm right back on target. Now, of course, you can't whip around absolutely as fast as you can on the computer, since the computer's a true one-to-one. But with regards to not having to do a 180, like, you know, in a millisecond, you're not even going to notice. It feels like you're playing on the computer.
Friendlies, hold your fire! That means don't shoot it, Briggs. No shit.
Yeah, this is definitely cool. Throw a grenade. easy to zoom in and aim. Ooh, getting killed here. Lay down, lay down, lay down. There we go. Throw a grenade. Okay, let's pop up. Ooh, they're all right there. Oh! Got killed by a car explosion.
Under fire! Don't shoot, Rich. No shit.
Okay, so again, I can turn on the I can click these both buttons here, put the Zim into the configuration mode, and now I can flip through the options. I'll have to check, but green, yellow mean different things. So you can turn up the sensitivity, and then resume. And now I made the mouse even more sensitive.
Eyes on the exchange. Left side, dead ahead. Roger, I see it.
A lot easier to aim now.
Heads up, bird incoming.
And I died again. So don't let my gameplay be be an indicator of how good this is. So let's go ahead and try a different game. So that's Modern Warfare 3. Let's play some Halo 4. So the first thing we want to do is look at our sheet over here, and Halo 4 is F7 and should be white. There we go, or this purplish color. Oh, it says I have to download an update. Go figure. So now you can see all we had to do was push an F key because we changed games. Now the other thing is you don't always have to do that. For games that are similar and that you like the keyboard layout for, you can leave it on the same profile. Like Battlefield and Call of Duty are fairly close to each other, but if you want the keyboard mapping to be more like the PC version, you definitely want to use their profile, and also it helps with the aiming. So, for those of you who don't know, I already beat Halo 4 finally on normal difficulty. Now I'll have to play it through on Legendary when time allows. Come on, start up. Downloading save games. Wow, console gaming is getting just as bad as PC. So while this is loading, we'll look through the little Zim quick start guide here. You can see that it'll blink red lights at you really fast if you've exceeded the maximum turning speed. And if you exceed the maximum turning speed, you can just turn the sensitivity down in the controller until you get it mapped perfectly to how you play. I'm not a super fast mouse mover though. I don't like really reef it around really quick. So for some of you hardcore people out there, you might want to give it a try and leave some comments on your experience. So now here you can see the config mode was start and back. So if you press start and back to enter config mode, to increase hip sensitivity, it's D-pad up. To decrease hip sensitivity, it's D-pad down. To increase the zoomed in aiming, it's D-pad right, and to decrease, it's D-pad left. And then for binding modes, it looks like, let's see, controller guide buttons, any controller button. So, and then key and bind to select a button. So you can actually bind controls while you're in that configuration also. We don't have to do any of that, but it is cool. We'll play around with the sensitivity while we're playing Halo right now. So let's go ahead and start. Oops. See, cloud save games. There we go. Let's go ahead and, oh hell, let's go play online and see how I do. So let's see, we'll go play some war games. Let's see, find a game. Infinity Slayer. Let's go find some people to pit the Zim against. Never thought I'd be playing Halo with a mouse and keyboard. Very cool. Alright, pick my loadout. And here we go.
Infinity Slayer. Eliminate the enemy.
First thing I can tell you is the mouse sensitivity is way too low. So I'm going to fix that. Will I probably get killed? So go into configuration mode. Crank it way up. Okay. There we go. That's a little better. Oh, I forgot something that you have to do too. You have to go in and turn sensitivity to maximum inside of the game. So you got to go to controller, and then we got to go find, let's see, sensitivity. Oh, there it is. Look sensitivity. you want to max it out. They tell you that for every game, you want to max it out. There we go, that's a lot better. Oh, there's a guy. Oh, sniped. Okay, I'm gonna try to turn up my sensitivity some more. Alright, that should be maxed out. Oh yeah, much better. It definitely does it in small increments. So now you can see how fast I can turn. Much faster than with a controller. Alright, let's go find somebody to shoot at. Jump with spacebar. Oh, there we go. Not bad. See if he comes back for more. There he is. Ooh, almost got a headshot there. Ooh. I would like the sniper rifle. Yeah, let's see where he's at here. Oh. Oh, getting gang raped. It definitely feels better than using the controller though, because with the controller I can't do maneuvers this fast. Ooh, get some nades. G for throwing grenades. See if we can get this guy. Got him.
Combat kill.
All right. Oh. Oh. I obviously need more powerful weapons. The DMR is outclassed. But I'm not having any problems with movement. I'm not gonna lie, it's not as smooth in Halo as it was in Modern Warfare 3. But I definitely can get a beat on a guy from a distance. Oh, we made him run. Oh man, that came out of nowhere. So you guys can see I'm just playing with my keyboard and my mouse. Oh. I can definitely stay on target a hell of a lot better than I could with the controller. Got him. Oh, sniper in there and it got me. Just watching some of these other players, I'm starting to think the Zim thing's pretty popular. Just the movements of some of these other players, you can tell that they have the sensitivity turned way up. I'm staying on target, I just can't outgun them. So that's pretty much it, guys. You can see the Zim actually works really, really well. You know, it's a good amount of money. I mean, I think it's, you know, right around $79 or $100 US. And then you do have to buy a wired controller, which can be another 30 bucks. So it can get a little expensive, but if you compare being able to use a real keyboard and mouse or even a joystick or a steering wheel on your Xbox games versus just spending $200 on, like, you know, a really fancy Xbox controller, I think it's totally worth it. This guy's trying to punch me. Ah, he's running. That was awesome. He's definitely out to get me. Alright, as you guys can see, the Zim is a pretty awesome device. It definitely gives you a one-to-one feel on the mouse, but it does depend on the game. Halo 4, you definitely could tell it felt a little bit different than a mouse. I'm not gonna lie, it was still really good. I was still able to stay on target, but it didn't have that exact responsiveness like you were playing a computer game. Modern Warfare 3, on the other hand, I could not tell. Modern Warfare 3 felt exactly like a mouse on a computer, from even the slightest little movement. Now, over time, I'm sure Zim's going to improve the profile for Halo 4, because Halo 4 was a really new game. And they basically put in the ballistics and the movements and stuff to like give you that one-to-one mapping. It's those smart translators that make that possible. So as time goes by, I have no doubt that it'll improve. But for playing Modern Warfare 3, and no doubt probably Black Ops and these other games, it's a perfect one-to-one mouse matching. You'll just have to try it to believe it, but it is. So anyways, guys, that's my review of the Zim Edge. Fantastic little piece of kit. And hope this video gave you a nerdgasm. I'm hoping that I'm feeling better in the next couple days so we can get back to some little bit higher energy and longer videos. But I definitely wanted to get this up for you guys because this thing's been burning a hole in my pocket sitting in the corner of the man cave along with a huge pile of other stuff that hasn't been opened, and it had to be done. So guys, thanks again for watching another one of my videos. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. I have a ton of videos and I upload very frequently. Also, come over and visit me on Facebook. The link's right on my main channel page. Or if you don't like Facebook and you got a thing against Zuckerberg, you know, most people do, come on over to Twitter. And if you hate Twitter, come to Reddit. I mean, I'm everywhere. So come find me, guys. I love talking to you. And until next time.